I've got a second screen over there. I'm just waiting to see if it picks up. It says I'm still waiting. And because I can't see, the phone is upside down. I can't see what I am doing. And whether you can see what I am doing. So we are going to just double check this. There we go. That works perfect. Okay, so you can see my pocket if I move it down a little bit. That should work, hopefully. There we go. Oh, that's the top. I get it. I get what's happening. All right. We are jumping right into week 3. What I'm going to talk about today is pocket application, and then gathering and attaching your bodice. We're going to go. We were originally planning to only do 4 weeks, but I'm going to do 5 weeks because I'd like to split up the button band into 2 weeks. So actually hemming under the arms and then doing the buttons. And I want to talk briefly. You can see that I've got a seam down the middle of my pocket. And the reason that I have this is that I didn't have enough fabric. And so I got creative and I put a seam. And given how gathered this is, I don't think anyone's going to notice it. It's going to look like a design feature. I could have possibly changed the orientation. So I pieced, especially with the stripes, I pieced one side so that half of it was going horizontal and half of it was going vertical. But, you know, little things like this, people sometimes get stressed out about, oh, what if I run out of fabric? There are always little tricks like this. You know, if your back waistband says to cut on the fold and you don't have enough to cut on the fold, you don't need to cut on the fold. Cut it as 2 separate pieces, add in some seam allowance, and no one's ever going to notice. Anyone who's taken a class with me knows I love a contrast facing, and it always means I use less fabric and I have, you know, extra little bits and bobs sticking around. So that's my tip for tonight about, you know, using fabric. The pattern doesn't call for you to finish the edges of the pocket, but I really dislike having loose raw edges, especially if I'm sticking my hand inside. So I finished all of my edges. I've pre-pressed some things. So you're going to start by pressing to the wrong side, and then pressing on that second notch to the right side. And what we're going to do is we're going to sew down this edge so that everything gets encased, and flip this. So I'm going to go away for a second and do some sewing. We're not going to move the camera tonight. You're going to have to listen to my disembodied voice as I talk through this. Oh, and I'm going to need my pokey bit thing. My bamboo point turner is the technical term, but I like calling it my pokey thingy. And I'm probably going to have to trim a whole bunch of these tails. And yes, and I am monitoring comments on my second screen. So say hi to me if you are watching, or if it's just me watching me, which is kind of weird. That works too. As I was talking to Michelle last week about the, you know, all the random noises that we end up making because we're by ourselves, and it is what it is. I'm going to trim all of my serger tails so that they're not sticking out, because they're a pain in the butt. A little bit of a pain in the butt. Do I have anybody watching me? Oh, I can't tell on this one. All I can tell is that I'm watching me because I'm logged in as me on the other screen. I would love for you to say hello. Tell me what you're doing. Tell me how your dress sewing is going along. Tell me, you don't want to do that, eh? This is slightly crooked. That's okay. So what we're going to do here now is we're going to flip this and see it's all nicely encased, and then it wants to sort of naturally roll. I like to get the bamboo point turner in there, get my corners really poked out. You can use it. I really do love this mini iron. The only thing I don't love about it is that it is not heavy. And so I like a really heavy iron to be able to like move and manipulate the fabric. And see, there's, oh, that's, I hit the camera. I went to grab my phone instead of the iron, which is a silly thing to do. And then you turn your seam allowance up and you've got a pocket piece. And I only have enough fabric for one pocket. The pattern calls for 2 pockets. You don't need 2 pockets. You can have 1 pocket. I am going to use my measuring gauge just to make sure this is roughly 1/2 inch, and it looks like it. And honestly, because I've got stripes, I'm going to kind of use the stripes as a measure so that this looks moderately straight. And we'll flip it over. Look at that nice pocket. This was the point in the other dress that I'm actually wearing today. That I did the embroidery. So if you were going to do embroidery, like if you're going to do embroidery on the pocket, I would do it at this point. And this is what I was talking about in the other video, because then it's going to be easier. Like you're not going to have to worry about trying to get in behind this piece. We've got some lovely stick and stitch templates right now that would look really nice on a pocket. You could do some freehand, whatever. So this is the part that I would do. All I would make sure to do, because once you get this in the hoop, it is going to sort of move, manipulate, is just stay stitched so that it doesn't bag out. This one is cotton, so it's sort of less so. Now, this is my trick for placing objects that don't easily pin into place. Oh, I think it does call for you to like top stitch here, but I'm not going to worry about it. Yeah, to top stitch this down. I'm not going to worry about it. So I'm looking here. No one says hello. That's okay. Oh, 2 people are watching. So me and 1 other person. So this stuff is called Steam a Seam. And it's like Frank's Red Hot. I use that shit on everything. It is double-sided basting tape, basically. It's commonly used in applique. I'm gonna have to pull this up slightly. There we go. That might work better. Get this right under the camera. There we go. It is sticky on the side, and then there's paper. And what this does is allows me to basically glue baste or fix my pocket into place without having to worry about pinning it. And sometimes, especially with something that's in the middle of a piece, it can shift. And so I really, really love this stuff. I use it for zippers all the time. So all I'm going to do is just iron it down around the edges of my pocket. And obviously not across the top, because the top is needs to be open so I can stick my hand in it. Ooh. This stuff really, really is, yeah, I use it for zippers. I've used it for attaching like a big kangaroo pouch pocket onto a hoodie. I use it to keep collars in place when I'm sewing button-down shirts. I have used it for, you can use it for quilting if you're doing applique. It really is like wonderful everything tape, and it comes in these this is a 1/4 inch. You can get 1/2 inch as well, and it comes in like a roll of 2 of these, and I go through so much of it all the time. Okay, so that's done. Now I have marked the pocket placement on the front of my skirt. I did some work ahead, so you should have your skirt pieces sewn. And we're going to talk, sorry, they're behind me. we're going to talk very briefly before I attach this pocket about my skirt piece, because the pattern calls for this skirt piece to be, oh, where'd my marks go? They were on here earlier today, and I can't find them now. I might have to pull out my pattern piece again. Or did I use the wrong piece? We'll find this in a second. The pattern calls for 2 separate panels to be cut, and then you stitch them together so that you get that line similar to the bodice line. Oh. Just like this. See, this is our bodice line. And you can see this is I've got the horizontal stripes on the top, and I've got the vertical stripes on my skirt. The reason I do this is because I am so lazy and I don't want to try to match up stripes, and not having matched stripes bother me. So this becomes a design feature, and I don't try to match the stripes, and you get this, very playful effect. So this fabric was only 45 inches wide. And so I opted to not cut and stitch it back together. The center line is not so important of a design feature to me. And this fabric was actually already somewhat narrower than what the pattern piece was. So I've just cut the skirt narrower. There is a lot of ease in the gathered version, and it's going to be okay. It's going to be enough, and that's it. So I have to try to find, I had marked on here and I cannot find them anymore. I think that might be one. Like I said, I'm going to have to pull out the pattern piece unless I marked it on this side somehow and my interfacing covered it. And this is literally just a big rectangle. And you can see too, I've still got the selvage edge. I am using every inch of this fabric because I have so little of this fabric. Oh, that's might be it there. I don't know. Okay, I want this pocket to be on the right side, which means I need it to be here. And I'm going to just quickly pull out my pattern piece to mark my pocket placement, and then we're going to iron that pocket into place. Is that my, I think that's the back skirt. This is the front skirt. Is this the front skirt? This is the back skirt. Of course, it's the back skirt. It's always the last thing you pull out. I tried to be so neat and prepared today, everybody. I really did. Or maybe I'm just not looking in the right spot here. Nope, that marking totally 100% disappeared. So I'm going to get out another marking pencil. We're going to get out something high contrast. As I drop everything all over the floor. At least it's not a shelf falling on my head, which I will forever be thankful for. And you want to mark both points of this pocket because that's going to give you the straight line that you need so that your pocket isn't wonky. So there we go. Sorry, everyone. Right, so here is my pocket. Iron over a little bit. And my pocket is going to go on. We're going to match up the points there. And my pocket is going to go on like that. And so what I'm going to do is just remove this backing paper. It just peels off. And then I don't have to use pins. Give it a little iron to make sure it stays into place. It is slightly repositionable. So if I decided, you know what, I don't like the way this is This is sitting, as long as it's still sort of hot, it's tacky and you can remove it and reposition it. And it does eventually wash out, which is the advantage for garments over something like the By Annie's tape, or the other one, which is called Stitch. No, it's not called Stitch Witchery. I can't remember what it's called. But the other tape that you use in bag making quite a bit. So does have a slightly different purpose. And then what we're going to do is we're going to edge stitch all around. I think for the sake of the video, I will skip edge stitching right now. I'll do that step later by myself. But you're going to just edge stitch around the pocket, and then you've got a pocket. Now, the final thing, what we're going to do is we're going to sew our gathering lines, and we're going to attach this to our bodice. That's the last step. If you watched my video today, you will have heard that I never, ever, ever sew multiple lines of gathers. I only ever sew one line of gathering because that's what works best for me. I am going to... Oh, that's where my thing went. It's upside down. That's why. Look, there's my marks. This is basically just a big rectangle, and because of that, I've put it on upside down, and it doesn't really matter. Because I was like, I thought I had marked out the points for the gathering stitches, and I did, because this was the bottom of the dress. It doesn't really matter. Like I said, it's just a big rectangle. So yes, you can watch the video today to see about gathering. What I am going to do, because this is just a single panel instead of 2 panels of a skirt, is I'm going to mark that center bit with a clip. Actually, I'm going to mark it here because we're going to have to stitch. And then I'm going to run my basting stitch along the top here. And you don't baste edge to edge because the edges are going to get folded in when we do the button band. And I'm pushing the pedal for my serger, which is not plugged in, and going, why isn't this working? And I have just entirely lost my thread here, and we're going to have to do that all over again. I love it. I tried, everyone. I really tried. I tried to be so prepared tonight. The universe conspires against me. And now I've got to like struggle to thread this machine. This is not a struggle, actually. And I use the auto threader function because it works really well on this one as opposed to the previous couple of machines that I had. And my eyes are just that bad, apparently. Okay, one more time with feeling. Leaving my long tails. And here we go. So there we go. I have a gathered skirt panel. I'll show you, I sewed the other one on, the back on. So there is my back, and there is my attached panel. And what I did was I found the center of the skirt and lined that up with the center of the bodice. So we're going to do the same thing. And you can see that the sides are unattached, because next week what we're going to do is we're going to fold these under and then under again, and that creates our button band. So for now, here's our panel. You can see that pocket's actually coming off slightly. So this iron is not as heavy to stick things on as I would like. But the rest of it you can see is nice and securely fixed. I'm going to grab some Wonder Clips off my table. And I'm going to start by finding that center, which is where I clipped. And we're going right side to right side. And I think I just did that off camera. Right side to right side. Let's push those all over there. And then matching up our edges. Let me know if this camera angle works better for you. I know it means you don't get to see the sewing part, but I think some of the prep part is a little more important. And I know for me, my vision's pretty not great these days. And so the nice clean overhead shots are what I'm aiming for. And then, yeah, we pull our bobbin thread. It's not a contrasting color, so you want the bodice to end up evenly sized to your skirt panel, which mine is not at this point, as you can see. And we just distribute those gathers all along. The benefit of sewing a second line or even a third line of stitching is that you can get more evenly distributed gathers that way. And if one of your lines breaks, then it's less of a dire situation. But I find this is good enough. And I am a good enough sewist. I'm happy with the results. No one's ever said boo to me. So, and this is what works for me. So find what works for you. That's really what I'm getting at here. There's a line for Caitlin to cut out and use in a video, in a future promotional video, future fabrications promotional video. Anyways, yeah, and then you're going to sew this down, and that is the point that you need to get yourself to for next week. I'm going to slowly sign off. I hope everyone has a great week. Hope to see a lot of people, I guess, if you're watching this live, or if you're watching this in the next little bit, we hope to see a lot of people out this weekend for Knit in Public Day. It's going to be exciting. Mary Dairy is coming. And if you're watching this in the future and you're like, what is Knit in Public Day? Knit in Public Day happens every year on June, right around June 10th, June 8th. And it's a day to celebrate the fiber arts. And we love all fiber arts. So we celebrate knitting and crochet and embroidery. We set up some tents. And we just hang out and knit, and then we get the Mary Dairy to come along and serve ice cream. And we usually have a trunk show that happens at the same time. This year it's it's Alley Cat Yarns. She was there last year too with her yarns, so a lot of fun. And it's a great afternoon to spend all together. And yes, so just give that a sew and you're ready. One of the things I really like about this dress is that there's no side, like the side seams you don't have to sew the side seams. The side seams are the button bands. So it's a really interesting, unique way of dealing with this dress, and different from anything else. And as am wearing, I am wearing it today with my ranunculus, a linen ranunculus, and it was very comfortable in this weather. So that is it. I am signing off, and we will see everybody next week. Bye.